Welcome back, everybody. So excited to be here with day two of Softball America's Big Ten Media Day. We've had so many great coaches and programs on our platform already, but I am thrilled to welcome for the first time into the Big Ten Head Coach Kelly Inouye-Perez. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, absolutely. I think 2025 is going to be a year of a lot of firsts. We're really excited for a little bit of the unknown, but also the opportunity to be able to see different parts of the country, different opponents. We've already learned there's a lot of Bruin fans on different part of the country. So there's a lot to look forward to. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And it was fun because we were even both chatting beforehand about some of the fun, exciting Big Ten tips and tricks that I know you are going to learn as well. Obviously, you are heading into your 33rd year, or excuse me, you have been with the program for 19 years now. This will be your 19th season. You've been a staple. We're assistant coach for how many years before that? You were the first ever player to win a national championship in uniform as a player and then to do it again multiple times as a head coach. I know you were UCLA softball through and through, but how exciting is it for you to kind of enter a new chapter as well in your coaching career within this conference?
Yeah, I mean, I think I never really believed, just committing to UCLA would be such an exciting journey of just, beyond I actually played 5 years at UCLA. So there's just been a continuous just book being written of and different chapters, different memories. I'm very proud to say we were the last to win the regular season in the PAC and the conference tournament. And then now here we start with a new chapter. Being able to be a part of this Big Ten just move, seeing Big Ten football and seeing Big Ten volleyball and seeing, basketball. There's so many great things that are already happening in the Big Ten, soccer, and I can keep on going. For us, it's all new. But I think the most exciting part for us as Bruins and how I've really, just talked to this is the opportunity. I think pairing up with the Big Ten makes a lot of sense, academics and athletics. We take pride in both. It's more than just the sport that we're playing. And like I said, seeing different parts of the country, I think is an opportunity. It's going to allow for us to network. There's opportunities for them to meet just different people from different parts of the country and really build their brand. So I'm excited. Softball is softball, and I have a respect for everyone that we play. But the opportunity to travel to different parts of the world, to be able to learn more about what the Big Ten represents, and the opportunity for firsts is something that I'm really excited about.
And I know the conference is thrilled just to have the rich history UCLA has. I mean, you talk about often the Bruin magic and the Bruin bubble. And, I saw it even the other night. I turned on the AUSL draft and I see so many of your former players. I mean, Rachel Garcia, you have Megan, you have Maya Brady, who I know is helping you out, Palacios. How proud do you feel to continue to represent UCLA and see these incredible players and what they go on to do?
Oh, beyond. We had a little watch party, and it was the excitement of just watching it. First, we think, Coach Fernandez, Coach Lisa, she did an outstanding job. As far as just all of them, all of the GMs, all of the coaches, and even the moderators, like how they did the whole thing. But yes, definitely, we are Bruin proud to be able to see that there's GMs, there's coaches, there's athletes, and then we have players that. I think the biggest thing for me is playing collegiate ball is such an exciting opportunity. You play on the biggest stage. The College World Series stage is something everyone strives for, but to continue to play means you have to really love the sport and obviously have the skill to be able to do it, but to continue to play and to continue to want to do something like AUSL and grow the sport. As Lisa said, leave the sport in a better place. She has been parts of decades of just building the sport, building the recognition. She was the first softball athlete to win the Honda Cup, and that was a big moment in time to be able to give softball the recognition. She won the first gold medal, 3-time gold medalist. But for her to continue to say, that's what I believe all these AUSL athletes are doing, is they're providing an opportunity that we've all been dying for, is to have a pro league. But for us to have, we kind of did a little count. There's more Bruins than any other college that are continuing to play. And I love that, because that means they love to continue to play. And I always say, play as long as you can. The real world is exciting, but if you can play and have the opportunity to get paid, that is a dream come true. So very, very proud.
And it's the continued excellence that I noticed from your teams year after year. I know I mentioned you're now heading into your 19th season. Obviously, the COVID season didn't count, but you 17 years in a row have brought a team to the NCAA tournament. You went on an incredible stretch from 2015 to 2022, always playing at Oklahoma City, and then you did so again last year with this group. What does it take from you as a head coach to be able to have a new group of women every single year and to continue to provide them just like excellence and get them prepared to be successful?
I would love to say it's about me. It's so not. First of all, I do have an amazing coaching staff. And I think the best part of my coaching staff is we understand that it's so much more than winning. It is about the athletes. Everything about UCLA softball is about the athletes that we recruit, the families that they come from. Everybody wants to win. Everyone wants to be the best. But for me to be able to get the top 1%, just phenomenal athletes, and have them come together. And for us, it's about winning a championship. It's not about individual accolades, and that takes time to build the culture to understand how to win. We go through it just like everyone. I mean, it's high, it's low. Of great excitement, and we have some moments that it's very, very hard. Part is understanding how we as a program are going to be at our best at the end when it matters most. And I have great confidence, with my coaching staff, that we're bringing in the right athletes. They know how to work. They understand, how to trust the process. Trust me, they look at me sometimes and I can tell they're like, oh my God, stop talking about the process. We're over it, but they understand that being able to be at their best at the end is when it matters. So, that's what I enjoy about coaching. I got to get the right athletes and understand how to be in school and compete. They have to understand how to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves, as far as what are we here for? We're here to try to be our best at the end and make a run for postseason. So that's working hard, obviously, and learning softball, but it's understanding your role of how to build a championship culture. And every year it's a new challenge because you have new Bruins. But I think that's a big part of why this program has been successful. Amazing athletes, but also really strong students. And then ultimately the ability to want to win and put the program first over themselves. And I think that's why I love my job, because I'm surrounded by I believe, the top 1%. It is so much more than softball at UCLA. They are really representing, a history and tradition, and they're creating the opportunities by understanding they have to do it with their team. And I think it's very satisfying. It's hard. But it's very, very satisfying. And I think that's why by the end of seasons, we start really building momentum, because we learn a lot through a season. And then as a result, we've been very fortunate. We've been fortunate to be able to, regionals and supers are hard. Yeah. It is a physical, mental grind, especially at the end of your season. So if you're not battle tested and ready to use the experience that you've learned, then, there's a lot of heartache. But their experience becomes a big part of how you get through that postseason and get the grind. To be a top 8 is a big deal. It really, really is, especially in this time where there are so many programs that can easily be there on that stage. So I'm very proud. But once again, it's the athletes that we bring in that I'm very, very fortunate to be surrounded by.
You talk about how much you can learn within a season. And I think last year was truly remarkable to watch week 1 of where your team was, and then the way they competed at the Women's College World Series, when so many people, wrote them off for a second there, and just to watch the younger players and the new leaders emerge. How much have you taken what you guys learned throughout last season, just in the off season, to propel them even more forward this year?
Yeah, absolutely. We always stop and talk about what it is that we learned. And, we had 7 new Bruins join the team in 2025. So I absolutely had not only the returning athletes, but my coaches share stories, examples, like what did it feel like? What did it look like? And what did we do? Because I was very proud. I was very, very proud of our ability to finish a very emotional start. Physically challenged and emotionally we were challenged, but the ability, what we call level up, this team did it. And I said it. The girls did it. The coaches did it. We as a program did it. And so we did share that. We did talk about, the ability to, you have a choice when it gets hard, and every team goes through it. And I think that's when you really learn about teams the most. When, everyone has high expectations, they're excited to play, and then things happen. But then you see how teams respond. And we were very normal. There were a lot of tears. There was a lot of frustration. But then you got to a point where you could see, that group last year just continued to show up every single day and say, okay, what's next? What's next? Because it can't get any worse. Like, what's next? And our ability to continue to move forward with people down and people having to step up, we called it leveling up. We continued to level up and level up and level up. I wouldn't let them go back to a level we've already leveled up from. We had a great mental performance coach, Dr. Mondo is what we like to call him. And he did a great job of helping just their perspective, their mindsets. But buy-in is a big word. They trusted that we could be, even though it was hard to trust it earlier. And I was so proud of how loose and how confident and how committed they were to each other going into to the end. So we shared it with this year's team straight up. Yep, we did it. It was down. Everyone was talking. Everyone was kind of like, counted us out. And then we kept working. And it didn't matter what anyone else thought, but it just, we focused on ourselves. So yeah, I was really proud of that team. And I look forward to this next season, because there's so many of the girls returning that now know we could be in the deepest, darkest place, but we can continue to move forward. And if all of us do that, we can create a momentum. To be on that stage was something that was not expected from anyone in February. And to be on that stage, we expected to be there, and we wanted to be the last team standing. And that is a complete change in mindset. But once again, it comes down to the athletes, and they did a great job of doing that. So these returners are going to be leaders. I can't wait for them to share with these 7 new Bruins just how we go through a season.
And I want to talk about those 7 new Bruins, because once again, you guys bring in a phenomenal recruiting class and also transfer addition. And if we want to just look at the first years, I want to talk about the impact you've already seen them in terms of the competition they're bringing at practice. Now you have Addison Fisher, the #1 recruit for Softball America, into your bullpens. And on top of that, you have the potential to possibly have 2 first years in the infield as well. What does that look like for you, bringing in so many talented athletes into the mix?
I think first and foremost, I want to shout out Lisa Fernandez. She's in charge of recruiting, and she has, I believe this class is the top recruiting class in the country. And the reason is we have all parts of the game. There's pitching, there's catching, there's hitting, there's infield, there's outfield. So, I think somebody asked me earlier in the season or just a while ago in an interview, do you believe any of the freshmen will start in 2025? And I almost laughed. But yeah,
the freshman I have.
I mean, well, it's just the dynamic, and it's how we recruit. I think our program is a program that likes to go and recruit and bring freshmen in that are impacting the lineup right away. And the ability for them to gain that 4-year experience is a big strength of our program, because your freshman year can be fun. You don't really know, you're just out there to play. And then you learn through your sophomore year, and it can be a challenge by your junior year and senior year. You've kind of been battle tested, and you're ready to lead, and you have the experience if you're fortunate to have that postseason experience. So yes, this class we recruit intentionally to have the freshmen come in and play. And the best part is the upperclassmen remember what it feels like to be a freshman and playing. So I think that's a big part of our program, where, to have 6 come in and be planned to be on the field is never truly, what everyone's looking to do, but it's the talent that we have. They're going to, all 6 of them are going to impact the lineup at some point. And I think that part is exciting. So to break it down, Addison Fisher, #1 recruit in the country, everyone in the country recruited her. It was awesome. It was an awesome day when she committed to be a Bruin, and it felt right. We had a great relationship just with her when she came to camp from when she was in 8th grade. And, I think a big part of that was it fit for her. And she brings a dynamic, explosive drop ball. She throws in the mid to high 60s, and she's gonna, I just want her to be Addison Fisher. I want her to come in and complement this staff that has, really good, strong rise balls. So I think that's going to be exciting. Paired up with Sophia Mujica, who's a catcher, and the 2 of them, it was exciting to see them with USA softball. They were able to win, win gold right before they came to UCLA. But they also played travel ball together, and they're a great pitcher catcher dynamic. Sophia has great power as a hitter, and she also they work really well together as a pitcher catcher combo. And then, we have it all in the infield. Alina Garcia and Kanaya Bragg. I mean, they have just really blended well with the returners and are going to impact the lineup immediately. Kanaya, she's a middle corner. Kanaya can play anywhere, but she's really locking down the corner over at third base. Alina Garcia is rotating between short and second, but if the game was tomorrow, she's taking over shortstop at this point, and it's just a phenomenal. One loves all of them, but I always say the game doesn't know how old you are, and they're doing a great job of just playing the game, And then in the outfield, Riley Slimp is, she's from Texas, and I love it because I think Riley may not be I think she's underrated. I don't know if anyone really knows just how good Riley Slimp is. So she's going to do some great things. She has great power as a hitter. She's a phenomenal outfielder with great range. And again, just a great addition to the lineup. We also have another catcher, Maggie Daniels, who's going to just do a great job of rotating with Sophia. And I think all of them you're gonna see them. You're gonna see them, and I want to give them the experience, because the only thing that they need is what it feels like to be on that field wearing, the 4 letters across their chest. And once they settle into realizing it's just what they do, that's when it's really going to get exciting for UCLA.
And I know I'm excited, and the rest of the country is, to see them take that stage for the first time. And we can't talk about new faces without talking about the transfer that you brought in terms of
Absolutely.
Jessica Clements. Granted, she has been a staple for nationwide in what she's done, competing for the batting title, hitting well over 450 previously. But for her, this is her first time playing, as you said, with the 4 letters across her chest. What is the immediate impact you're going to see from her in the lineup, but also just watching her work day in and day out?
Yeah, it's funny because when she first came in, I asked her, I said, what's the biggest thing that will be a challenge for you? And she's just saying, being a Bruin, being able to play, at this level. And my gosh, you could see why she, all those things that you just said. She is just a fierce athlete. She's fearless. She plays hard. She swings hard. She throws hard. She runs hard. She's a tough out at the plate. We've been competing a lot in January. We can't wait to play another opponent, and she's a very tough out. She's got great hands and she's got great power. But the work ethic is there, and I really enjoy seeing there's a maturity. So you can see there's a difference, of just how she walks, talks, carries herself, how she asks questions. Just her communication in general. I love that she's getting one more opportunity, her last lap, to be able to play with us, because I think she's been able to be a leader in the programs that she's been in before and be the one, and now she's a part of something where she said, the thing I look forward to is not having to be the one, and this team could still be successful. So I believe her level of play is going to the next level, because she's now kind of competing against some really good talent. But her leadership, her style. She's got a calm confidence, even though she's playing, she goes all out with everything that she does. So I look forward to doing a lot. She's going to be fierce at the plate because she has a lot of tools. And then outfield wise, she's been really locking down center field, and she's got a great read and a great arm. And, she's catching balls and showing some range. And, in a year where we've graduated, probably one of the top outfields in the last couple of years with Janelle and Kelly Gooden and Jadelyn, like those were real outfielders. So that was something that, as a coach, you say, wow, we're going to have some people to replace. I'm really excited about what Riley and Jessica are already bringing, and others are bringing, to be able to show, you never replace people, because, people leave their mark, but you definitely have to find a way to fill some positions. And I'm excited about what people are going to see with the range and the arms in the outfield.
It's exciting to hear about all the special players you have on your team, and we're about to get to 2 who have done so much for your program already in the years that they've been here, and bringing on Jordan and Kaitlyn here in a minute. If you could just talk about, first of all, them as players, but watching them, it's the passion they play with. I mean, They just play every time they're on the mound or at the plate. It is clear to see how much they love UCLA softball and just playing the game.
Yeah, and back at them. We absolutely love them. 2 completely different journeys. Jordan and Megan Grant have just, they made their names in the college game in their freshman year. And this is why I say I love my job. Being able to see like Jordan now in her junior year, and Megan, but Jordan just in a whole different leadership role. I mean, I remember her as a freshman being in the dorms, and it was hard being away from home and just making the transition to college. I could see her probably laughing if she heard me saying this. And if you saw her now, just a calm confidence, helping the younger Bruins, but stepping up and leading and just representing UCLA with class so well. I'm so proud of her. She speaks well. She's a great leader, but it's how she's taking care of these younger Bruins. That's what makes me most proud. And as a result, her game has never changed. She has the ability to play the corners. She can play anywhere. She's very strong. She's very confident. But as a hitter, she is just continuing to mature. As an All-American, first-team All-American as a freshman, You could say, where are you going to go from here? I think the ability to impact the lineup and make people around her better That is something that you're really going to see Jordan. I think she'll thrive. She learns, she studies the game, she has a plan, she is a tough out, but how she's communicating with others and making others around her better, just even showing how she could fail and continue to stay dialed into the team. That to me, you're going to see she's a big strength. She's a leader in 2025. Her experience, her personality, but her pride in being a Bruin, it makes me proud because she's representing very, very well. When it comes to KT, I am the day that KT committed to being a Bruin, I was like, oh, she's going to change this whole dynamic, And I've been with pitchers the whole time, from being a player to an assistant to the head, and KT is unique. She is. I mean, everyone uses the word, tough, and she works hard. I mean, KT she's a killer. She's a fierce killer. Give her the ball. She is someone who competes. It's exciting. I get a chance still to catch her, and I can tell you she's not easy to catch because she brings it at high velo, and her ball has crazy movement. But the most impressive thing about KT, she led the nation at times in high school in strikeouts, and she had a really great rise ball. So if you just were to say, what does KT throw? You're going to say, you got to beat that 70-mile-an-hour rise ball. Credit to her in her freshman year, and even not at 100%, for her to be coachable enough to be able to expand her game, to learn the down ball, like not to trust the down ball a little bit more, and the changeup, and then being able to throw it at both sides of the plate. So in a very short period of time, she has expanded her game, and she's added tools to her arsenal, and she's throwing it with more confidence. I mean, that is something that I have so much respect for her, because she is fierce. She is a get out of my way, give me the ball, I'm going to chuck it. But as she becomes more fine-tuned as a pitcher, I mean, she's definitely going to leave her mark on this game. So I credit her. She doesn't need anyone, but she respects the game and wants to help her team win. And she's also very coachable to try to get to be the best version of herself. So I can't wait to see her, because last year you guys saw her at, you saw her at 20% in the beginning of season, and then it went to 40%. And you probably got to see her at 60, 70% by the end of season, but it was pure grit in her mentality that competed. KT's ready to go. She's back to 100%. You'll see her pitch. You'll see her hit. You'll see her in the outfield. She's leading. She manages. She's fierce. Oh, you're going to see her. She's not happy when things don't go well, yet she competes. She continues to compete. And I think that's what I love, is you're going to see that fire when KT's on the mound. And I think the team loves that. They love her energy and her confidence that she brings. And that always is something that you like to have in the circle.
Coach, well, I don't think you could have described it any better. And I'm going to wait for them to get back on their camera so we can bring them in. But
okay.
As we wrap up, I just want to give you the opportunity of the Big Ten Conference is learning you, but what should they be most excited about with the Bruin Magic coming to the Big Ten?
I think first and foremost, as I said earlier, the opportunity that we have here. There's been some really historic programs in the Big Ten that we've gotten a chance to play, but not very often, and I really think of Michigan first, just the program that they've built, the relationships that we have, the coaches on that team, but there's so many others, in the Big Ten Conference. And I'll be honest, if you would have asked me before we even knew this, I didn't know every coach in the Big Ten, so I look forward to that. But if what we're going to see is we want to be a team that comes in and we play hard. We respect the game. I think the most important part of it is when we're a team that likes to compete down to the last pitch. So you're going to see great energy. You're going to see great confidence. You shouldn't be able to see what the scoreboard looks like. But I think Bruin Magic is something that is real, and the environment's going to be a little different. The scenery is going to be different. We have a different fan base that we're going to go into, but I hope that they get an opportunity to see a program that represents with class. We play hard. We don't quit. There's always great energy, but at the end of the day, we're respectful, and we respect every opponent that we play. So hopefully everyone will get to feel a little bit of that Bruin magic, and the Bruin bubble will travel to different parts of the country. So you're going to get to meet different Bruins from all over the country. But for us, once again, we're excited about the opportunity to be in the Big Ten.
Well, I could not be any more thrilled to have you guys. And as I bring them up, I just want to thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Sydney, and go Bruins and go Big Ten. Here we go.
Go Big Ten. I love it. Well, thank
Take
you,
care.
Coach. Good luck this season as we bring on the two she was talking about, Jordan and Kaitlyn. Thank you so much for coming on here today.
Thank you for having us.
For having me.
Kaitlyn, I mentioned it when you hopped on, but I have to bring it back as Coach talked about the competitor you are, and then I see the lion behind you. Like, I just need to know, is that you? Is that your personality?
It is. Honestly, it definitely is. I love Lions.
For you too, we talked a little bit about it with Coach in terms of where you were week one last year to where you guys finished. It has to be one of the most, I would say, remarkable seasons and growth I've seen out of any team since I've been watching college softball. Can you bring me back to those first few weeks when I'm sure the game felt tough and the conversations you guys were having with one another that really sparked this redirection in the season and allowed you guys to play your best softball?
I think Coach I said it the best. We just learned a lot of resilience last year. And like she said, our performance coach, Mondo, he had a big impact on the season and just getting us in the right headspace and being able to come back from some tough losses. There for sure was a lot of tears and a lot of frustration, but I think it made us stronger in the end. And that's why we were able to get so far too.
Yeah, going off of that, I think how she said, Coach I said it the best. I think we also just had each other's back and were able to trust each other. I think it was hard at the beginning to trust each other, but once we kind of figured out and like came together and had each other's back is when we like made the turnaround.
Yeah. It's so fun to talk with you both because when you look through a lot of your awards, I mean, so many are similar. One, both of you being Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, coming on stage in such a fierce way right away. Kaitlyn, yours being most recent, I want to talk about you. What do you feel like allowed you to step in and compete at such a high level the minute you entered the college softball space?
I think definitely my mindset and my competitiveness. Had yeah, I knew it was going to be hard, and especially like not knowing I was going to have an injury and having to come off of that wasn't the easiest. But just knowing like also Tins having my back and like us bouncing off of each other and just knowing somebody's there with me, it was probably like the best thing to have.
And for Jordan, you came in again in such a powerful way, but you've continued to build on these moments. I think one of my favorite moments ever watching you, I have to talk about the Women's College World Series and your big go ahead 3-run bomb against Alabama. Like, talk to me about your mindset getting into the box.
I think my first two at-bats, I definitely was kind of caught up in the hype of being at the World Series. But my third at-bat, I finally settled in. And I knew, like, going into that inning, I was like, we're going to score this inning, like, no matter what happens. And then before, Megan kind of went down before me. And throughout the whole entire year last year, we were really feeding off each other. And she had my back so many moments, and I had her back. So I was like, if anyone's going to get it done, like me and Megan and Sav was behind me too, I was like, it's going to be one of us. So not feeling too much pressure on myself to be like, I need to be the one, but knowing if I didn't get it done, Sav behind me was going to get it done. So it's not too much individual, but just knowing the team has each other's backs no matter what happens.
I want to talk about that team chemistry because I feel like it's obvious when you guys play, but even this off season, we were laughing before. I mean, the videos you guys make for social media, between the donation ones that had me laughing to even your media day shoot looked so amazing and so fun, but you guys are just always laughing and smiling with one another. What is it like in the locker rooms, behind the screens, just with this team and this group specifically?
I think it's the freshmen, honestly. They bring like such a fun energy and they just like make us all laugh, and they're always doing like the most random, like singing the most random things. So I think their energy really like bleeds into the team and makes it more light and more fun too, for sure.
Yeah, I agree off of that. The freshmen have definitely brought a big humor to the team, but I also think just kind of everybody's coming out their shell. I think just like everybody's like, we're like all of like we're ourselves. So I think like last year we were kind of like in our shell, and like this year, like definitely the freshman class have brought us all out. But yeah, I think all of us are just kind of out of our shell.
How do you guys spend time with one another when it's off the field? Like, what do you guys love to do?
We honestly hang out a lot. Like on the weekends, like after practice, we'll be getting dinner. Like we watch the draft together. We just do a lot of fun stuff together. And I think that's also another factor that's brought us closer together too.
Yeah, I agree.
You guys are so rich in your history, and I love that you brought up the draft because so many Bruins got to go and play on ones that you guys have played with, ones that you watched wear the uniform before you. And then let's talk about how you're coached by two of the greatest to have ever worn the uniform. What is that history like that connects you guys, that sisterhood, that Bruin bubble that you guys always talked about?
I think everybody like follows a tradition and is open to follow the tradition. I think it's like a really cool tradition, and like, yeah, it's something different because not a lot of us like follow tradition, but just knowing that we're getting coached by the best is literally the best. So just knowing, like, going to practice, knowing that we're going to get better because of our coaching staff, like, that's what I like to like have in my mindset, is that I'm going to get better because of my coaching staff too, because they're right there with me.
I agree, especially this year. Coach Lisa has taken over hitting, and she's just done so much for hitting wise and infield. And I feel like she's been really committed to us and really committed to us getting better. And I think that shows throughout the whole fall and like this off season right now. We've gotten so much better, and like just competing against one another too. I think it makes a big impact because you're hitting off the best, you're pitching to the best. It really makes a big impact in your game.
I mean, I can't even imagine just a normal day of practice is hitting off of her. Like, that's as good as it gets right there, right?
Yeah, even Coach Lisa still now, like, she'll get me out, and I'm like, how is she getting me out right now? Like, it's
still competitive, both of you.
Yeah.
We love it. Well, for you too, being examples like having Maya Brady on your staff as a GA and watching so many of these players come back and to train in your backyard. Coach said it best. So many players in college go on to play at the highest level professionally for national teams or overseas. For you guys, what do you feel like is about this culture of UCLA that really creates that excellence in softball players?
I think it's just loving the game of softball and also knowing it's bigger than yourself too. I feel like at UCLA, we really emphasize not playing for yourself, but playing for your teammates and the four letters. And I feel like that really translates to the pro level, because it could be hard if you're switching teams all the time with new players, but you're knowing you're playing for a bigger cause of like growing the game and being there and just like having fun. I think that really makes an impact too.
Yeah, I agree off of that. Just knowing that we're, like what you just said, like, we're not playing for ourselves. We have other people like next to us, behind us, in front of us, that we're also playing for them and the four letters.
Playing for the four letters this season, you've already talked about how much fun this freshman class is, and they're also bringing a lot of talent. When you look ahead, obviously it's one game at a time, but what do you feel this group is really capable of accomplishing?
I feel like great things are ahead for this team. I think our youth, but also like mix of our experience, since a lot of us have been to the World Series now, along with the freshmen, I think it'll make a really big impact and keep everything very light, but also like very competitive too.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of greatness that's going to happen. But I think just if we have like a good mindset going in and playing it like game by game, then we'll be fine.
And entering a new era, even for you guys, into the Big Ten. We were talking about it before you joined. You get to go on the road to Ann Arbor and play Michigan. You also get to spend part of your spring break at Iowa as you guys make a little road trip out of it and finish at Maryland. For you two, how exciting is it to be able to travel to new places, play in new stadiums, and to face new teams as well?
I'm happy. Like, I'm excited to like face new teams and see new places. I mean, like I said before, I don't want to go to the cold, but there, you got to do some things. But I think it's going to be a really new and fun experience. Then, like, I think all of us are new to it, so everybody's going to be kind of together figuring out what to do.
Yeah, I agree. I was talking to Megan the other day. I was like, it's kind of like we're freshmen again, because we've never played any of these teams in a series and it's all brand new. So it's going to be really fun and really exciting. A lot of crazy road trips ahead and a lot of like delirious hours in the airport and on the bus, but it's going to be fun.
And I'm going to equip you with all of my cold tips after this, like we started before we began. And I asked Coach this question, but I want to know it from the player's perspective. What do you really want people to know about UCLA softball as you guys are joining the Big Ten? How do you want to be viewed as yourselves as players and as a program?
I think as a program, a big thing is Bruin magic and just like the strength of the Bruin bubble. I know we have Bruins like all across the country that are alumni or fans. And I think just seeing the impact across the country will mean a lot. And just as players, I would say just someone who loves the game of softball and loves playing for UCLA. Like, this is one of like a dream come true for me. So really taking advantage of this opportunity and making the most of it is really important for me too. So.
Yeah, I agree about Bruin magic. It comes out of nowhere and nobody knows that it's coming. Sometimes we don't even know that it's coming and it's there and we get it done. But also, like, as a player, I mean, like, yeah, like we're all competitive. I'm competitive. And I think also just loving the game is probably the biggest thing.
And as we wrap up, can you guys put into words what Bruin magic is? Because I've been hearing it for years and I see it with my own eyes, but how can you guys even describe it?
It's honestly like indescribable. It just happens. Like, it's just like the belief that we all have that we can have one pitch left and we're still going to get it done. I don't know. It's really in this, like, the first time it happened was my freshman year, and I was like, wow, this is actually real. Like, I hear about it, but I was like, dang, this like actually works.
Yeah, no, I know. Having it, like, it happened a lot last year, and that's why, like, I think just having the belief of it and just knowing that somebody's going to get it done is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, you're making your own magic. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Jordan and Kaitlyn, I'm so thrilled to have you into this conference. I appreciate you both taking the time to talk with us today as you're getting ready for opening weekend in your own home stadium.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm sure I'll see you this spring when you're all nice and bundled at warm. But for everybody who's tuning in, this was just UCLA softball. Jordan Woolery, Kaitlyn Terry. We also had Coach on earlier. You can watch the rest of this episode back on Softball America YouTube page. Subscribe, like to Softball America. Join us on the platform. Read the articles, watch all the interviews, and we'll be back in 15 minutes with Michigan. So stay tight as we continue with Softball America.